What if I told you that your biggest failure could be the very thing that leads you to your greatest strength? This is the story of a 16-year-old girl named Olivia, and it begins with silence, not the peaceful kind, the kind that feels heavy, the kind that falls after you've read another letter with one word stamped across the top: failed. Olivia sat alone in the backyard that afternoon. The wind stirred the trees, but she didn't notice. Her hands trembled as she held yet another rejection, another reminder that no matter how hard she tried, her best was never enough. Her classmates aced every exam. She failed again. What was she doing wrong? Tears welled in her eyes. Her dreams of making her family proud, they felt like dust slipping through her fingers. That's when her Grandma, quietly walked over. "Come with me," Grandma said gently. No questions, just that same warm voice that had comforted Olivia since she was a child. They walked in silence, away from the house and toward the edge of the property where an old oak tree stood like a sentinel of secrets, its roots twisted through the earth like the scars of someone who had seen many seasons. They stopped, and Grandma, without turning, said, "Olivia, I once stood exactly where you are now." Olivia looked at her, surprised. "I failed too," Grandma continued, her voice distant, soft, almost like she was speaking to a version of herself from long ago. "I wanted to become a doctor. I studied until my eyes burned. I believed that if I worked hard enough, it would happen." She paused. "But life doesn't always care how hard you work." Olivia listened, eyes wide. "I passed my school exams," Grandma said. "But when I got to the city to take the entrance test for medical school, I failed. And not just once. I failed multiple times." Her voice cracked a little. "I still remember the walk home that day. It felt like the world had ended. People I didn't even know laughed behind my back. They said I wasn't smart enough, not strong enough, and maybe they were right. But then," Grandma looked into Olivia's eyes, "my father, your great-grandfather, said something I never forgot." She took a deep breath. He said, "Failing isn't the end, Evelyn. It's the first sign that you're alive. It means you're trying, and every time you rise stronger." Olivia blinked, holding her breath. "So I tried again and again. Each time I failed, I learned. I studied not harder, but smarter. I didn't become a doctor, but I became a nurse. And that nurse? She saved lives. She held the hands of mothers, fought beside doctors, brought comfort to the dying." There was silence. "I found a different path, one I never expected, but one I was meant for." Olivia felt the lump in her throat grow. Her grandmother, the woman she thought had always been steady, had once broken too. "But Olivia," Grandma said gently, placing her hands on her granddaughter's cheeks, "what broke me back then didn't destroy me. It redirected me. Failure wasn't my end. It was the beginning of the life I was truly meant to live." The wind rustled through the leaves above. "Don't be afraid to fall," Grandma said. "Be afraid of never getting back up." Olivia stood still, a new kind of silence filling her heart. Not the heavy one from earlier, but a calm one, the kind that comes after truth. And suddenly she understood. Every rejection letter wasn't closing a door, it was pointing her toward a better one. Maybe she wouldn't take the same path her friends did. Maybe she'd fail again. But maybe, just maybe, she'd find her way like her grandmother did. With more grit, more courage, and more heart. From that day forward, Olivia no longer feared failure, because now she knew. Failure doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're still in the fight. And often the strongest people aren't the ones who always win, but the ones who never stop rising. Moral: you don't fail when you fall. You fail only when you refuse to rise. So rise, again and again, because your breakthrough might be one more try away.